Hello everyone, welcome back. So I wanted to check into Biden to see how he's doing. So I'm just going to look, just go 1 week at a time. This one will be July 15th through the 21st. But wanted to say hi ahead of time, give you guys big hugs. Okay, I'll be right back. I'll bring you right over my table. Okay, so for this week, I decided to use the Gilded Reverie. It's an extended or expanded, it says, edition by Ciro Marchetti. So, Joe Biden. Awesome press conference, by the way, last night. And I learned something about him that I didn't know before. A lot of people that have had experience with him over the years have said that, or has said that he always mixes up names. That's just one of his things. And man, I can tell you, even when I was way younger, I did that all the time. When you're tired and you've got, you've been with people all day, and you still have lots of kids around you, and you'll call one kid the other one's name. Yep. That's just what happens. So, okay. Joe Biden. July 15th to the 21st. How will your week go for you? Make sure I have enough room. Move these trays over. Yeah, I think I do. Okay. All right. Joe Biden. I loved his last words when they were asking. I can't remember who that guy is. I think he's on his side. I think he's on Joe's side, but he was letting everyone know or letting Biden know what everyone had seen that Trump had posted, talking trash about his memory, and the guy said, "What do you have anything to say? What do you want to respond back? Do you have a response?" Basically. And Joe looked at him and smiled, almost even winked, and said, "Huh, just listen to him." Okay, he's going to be working hard, repetitively working hard. He is going to need to get more rest, but his heart is in what he does, to the point that that's always going to be one of his biggest challenges. Ooh, and he has such a vision. He has a long-term vision and plan that his heart is really in. Now, on another level, this could be about, gun control right here. Okay, laws, gun control, and more laws. Our institution, he's worried about the abuse of SCOTUS. Whoa. He's thinking long term. Jill is doing pretty darn good taking care of him, getting him to come back to the nest. So that's a positive. This is a positive sign right here. Okay, I'm going to keep going, and we'll get the whole week, and maybe a little day by day. We'll see. Actually, the way I'm laying it out here, I think it's going to be more just the whole week at once. And here's Joe up here. He is looking to the past, even though he has goals, but he is looking to the past. He's looking at the safety and security of our homeland. He doesn't, well, let me just get these laid out first. Let's see. This is squared up here. Yeah, it's good enough. Okay, so what I'm seeing here, because his card did come through, I am going to start up here. Normally I do the center and go out, but I am going to start here. So he's looking back to the past. He still has so many goals that he doesn't feel are finished. And if it's the last thing he does, what he's got coming up, all this is backing him up behind. I mean, he's not, if his card were to come down here and be looking back to the past a long ways back, then I would say, there's still a lot to deal with. But this has the opposite effect. And granted, the cards aren't perfect. Not all deck makers really know what they're doing. Then again, Taro Marchetti in this deck, and I don't even know where the other, do I have them? Let me see. What's in here? No, it's just a little book. He has 4 cards, 2 male and 2 female. This is not the male to this female is not the one that I chose, because it's a guy with a bare chest and a big Mars, whatever. It's like the whole macho sexualized thing that Taro Marchetti tends to do with all of his decks, and it's the reason it's one thing I don't like about, And he has to put his initials on every friggin' card, CM everywhere. But most people love his art, so, and I do love the expanded edition. I do love the women that help him design, write up the meanings. But when it comes to the artwork, So I don't remember the woman that goes with this card, and if it is the right way, she would be facing him, right? So I can't really read directionally with this one, because I screwed up and took out that other male card because I was in reaction to the way it looked. It's like a big hunky guy. Well, how about just a friggin' normal guy is what I wanted. But I might have screwed up the mirroring. So I just have to go with male and female, and maybe he really is looking this way. Maybe I should not read this guy directionally. And if I didn't, it really brings in a tremendous amount of control, because then he would be looking at his goals, and if it's, like I said before, if it's the last thing he does, his heart is in it. And to run the country, or to do his best in the high position in our land. The tower in the Lenormand, if you're new to the system, is very, very different than the tower in the tarot. This is our institution, high places of honor, reputation, things like that. Sometimes legal issues, but he doesn't have any legal issues, so I can't read it that way. I'm reading it just like I see it right here. He's focused on his goals and getting rest, but until the day he dies, he will always be, I think, with his heart in his service to the country, and he is so committed, and that is the key. So now I'll read the 4 corners here. The most important thing is that he's super committed. This is the public, who I think this next week, more and more and more are going to rally around him, because he said he's not going anywhere. And Nancy Pelosi can spout off her little mouth all she wants, and she can mess up her words. She said, until he decides. What? You mean decides? Okay. And meanwhile, you're trying to tell him, he's already said he's not going anywhere. He's already said he's in it to the end. And you're still waiting for him to decide, like you think you have some power over everything. No, the way the rules are written in the Constitution is it's up to him to voluntarily step down. I don't see that happening. I just don't see that happening. But I think this week he'll put an end to that and focus more and more on his goals and his big, big plan. And I think he's going to surprise everyone, even though, yes, he's older. And yes, Jill will take care of him. And, but we've got wisdom here. We've got the healthy dad here. That's what the Lilies is all about. And he's just going to keep moving forward in his wisdom. Yeah, he will make those, faux pas, whatever. He'll call the wrong person the wrong name. They all say, or many of them say, he's always done that. I never knew that. But I also have never hung on every single word he's ever said. because I know his heart's in it. And that's coming through in the reading right here. So back to the four corners. The public will tend to feel safe with him, see him as a foundational, strong, that force that just hangs in there. And that is going to be really important on so many levels. And it's also going to be the thing that gets him out of his cage or out of the little cage he's been in, and kind of sets him free. And things are going to be complicated this next week. He will have people who are risky or want to risk it to get the biscuit kind of thing, because they want the biscuit, and they will betray him. There are Democrats who will be betraying him this week, and we will see with the sun here, we're going to see the arrogance come out. We're going to see people come out and just still want to take him down. But he's, there's so much support coming from Jill here. Isn't it wonderful to have both of them? And she's down in the bottom position, showing her support to him. She gives everything up, or gives whatever can support him. I'm not going to say that she's like a whatever you call codependent milquetoast or something like that. She's a very strong woman. Isn't she a professor? She's a doctor of some type, but I thought she might be a professor too. You guys let me know if you know anything about that. Anyway, she will help him recover when he seems to be getting too tired. She has an eye on him and on the vitality of, if she sees him getting kind of worn down and weak, I think she might try to kind of rein things in, get him to rest anyway. Get him to isolate and rest. Maybe at some point she'll understand, that empaths, and I don't, he has the chart of an empath, but I'm not, and that is, with the three Scorpio planets in the 12th house, Scorpio in the 11th, and then also his Neptune in Libra up in the 10th. It tells me that he, just gives his all when he's in the way he interacts with society and when he's in his authority. And then he also has a Taurus moon in the 5th, and that is very, that can be very, what's the right word when, porous. Porous is the word. So sensitive, porous, empathic, that's who he really, really is. But then in his, service to the Senate and House and Senate when he was younger, I mean, his first Saturn return, I think he made it in as a senator. That says something right there. And then with his Sag ascendant, that's all set up for politics, of course. But we know that he's had a painful life, a very painful life, and he still just keeps working and working. And maybe Jill is getting him to, come back inside and isolate a little bit more, just so that he can explore his hidden depths and get more guidance. The book here can be very, very intuitive here. This is the card of esoteric studies, and now I don't know if he's up to anything like that, but he might keep hidden, and Jill would help him keep hidden that he does need he needs downtime. And if he gets that, it will recharge him and it will increase his vitality. So, if we don't see him, that's good news, you guys. If everybody could just get that. If we don't see him, that's good news, and if he stops traveling all over the world, but then again, that's at the heart of who he truly is to be connected to the global economy, and he's really proved that with the NATO summit. So besides doing a good presser, he had the NATO summit all the same day. So, but maybe they're scheduling him, and maybe Jill has a part in that, to schedule him for full days and then another full day of downtime. I'm hoping that's what this is saying here. because she is looking to bring him back to the nest, back to the home nest and back to the White House nest to rest, right? She wants him to rest. She wants him to isolate so that he can recharge and recover. The flowers is all about recovery. So yeah, there's that. Another thing that I learned last night listening to the press, or maybe it was listening to Rachel Maddow. Yeah, I think it was. I think it was Rachel Maddow and Joy Reid and Nicole Wallace who spoke afterwards. And I think it was Rachel that said that I knew that he hurt his foot. I knew he hurt his foot. I didn't know that he broke it. She gave voice to the fact that he not only broke his foot, but he refused to wear a boot, and that is a thing that makes him walk differently because he's lost some neurological, function there. Like he has to be very careful. But I guess he didn't want to tromp around in a boot, or maybe his pride wouldn't let him. Sometimes it's like that. That's the thing. It's like if men would just give that crap up, if that's what's going on with him or what did go on with him. But, that's why we saw him fall down the stairs a couple of times, or repeatedly at one time, going up to I think he was going up to Air Force One. And either that or somebody put something slippery on those steps. But he definitely looked like his left foot would not work well. And so if he did in fact break it, then maybe that's what that photo was, or that little video was all about. And I think that was a couple of years ago. So anyway, he does have to watch his back. There's some bite coming. And these are people who have decided to take a risk, and they're secretly, working behind the scenes because, they want his position. They want his position. These are narcissistic, arrogant men. I read in layers, you guys. So just because I say one thing about it doesn't mean I won't say another thing about the cards, meaning something entirely differently. And that's what I'm seeing here. People in the government, this was our government card. So it would be like the Hierophant in tarot. People in the government, there are some people in positions of government who are arrogant and narcissistic, and they will be complicating things this next week. So he's got a lot on him. I don't have the birds here saying that there's a lot of talk, but, and in fact, the two negative cards, there's several neutral cards, but there's certainly a lot of positive cards here. But the two negative cards right here are the coffin and the snake. But the coffin to me is just that need to rest, because we have really positive cards around it, but he does need repetitive rest. He's working it too hard because he's so committed. And that movement, that constant movement, he needs to make some higher self choices to get that rest. And that rest will recharge and improve his situation. So let's see, other than that, I'm doing some mirroring. I can see that this week will be a very important week for him. He will bring in more allies than resistors, I think. But there are some people in the government who maybe will just let it rest and get on board with him. And then we have the others that are going to be problematic. But again, he's the one that gets to make the choice. And that's the important thing to remember in the midst of all the complications, especially with the social media and the news that come out, news, social media that come out. We need to remember that the choice is up to him. He's like the healthy grandpa, healthy dad that will improve as much as we support him. It will get better for him. He's been carrying a tremendous amount of weight and burden on his shoulders, but he's committed to do that. He chose to do that, and he always says he never blames anything on his staff. even though last night he did say, yeah, they throw stuff at me at the last minute. they pile on more at the end or something like that was the way I heard it. But anyway, so again, it's a little risky for him to stay in and rest, but he does have to recover to bring in the vitality, and I believe that he will. That's why these cards are like that. People want to see more of him to make sure he's okay, but that's actually the opposite of what his body needs. He needs some downtime to heal. And I'm talking, and I'm not saying like, away for a week and you don't see anything. He would never do that. But, early nights in and getting good sleep and not so early mornings, like that. That's what you do when you're trying to heal or regroup, is you create a long patch of time, like a 12-hour space, just to yourself. All right? I don't know that any president could ever get that. So that is the burden. But the more he could, if he would, even if he had to hide that, it would behoove him to do that, because it would help him neurologically. It would help his brain to regroup and, to just kind of let go. And, but I don't know if he will. Jill wants that, I think, but I don't know if he will. So I think that's all I have, and I know that I have so many of you who have or still are in my membership program at the lessons level, and you know how to read the cards just as good as I do. So if you have anything else to throw in, especially Mimi, she's so good, or anyone, feel free, because the more eyes on this to get different messages than I got, the better. Okay, thanks you guys. Have a really good week. Bye.